right? Let's not be childish. We know that the money is significant. Every adult has that same challenge. It is the main challenge that separates us from the children. The children just sit in the back seat and they just play whatever cell phone game or tablet game or whatever it is you give them to play, and they're not worried about that. The teenagers, you know, the teenagers are exploring, experimenting, and learning about life and all that that entails. But the main difference is that as adults, we have to pay for it, right? We have to pay for it. And if it's financial, we have to pay for it. Now, if we, and in many cases, we want to educate our children, right? We want to send them to the camps. We want to send them to the Kumon schools. We want to send them to be tutored. We want to send them to summer camps. And we want to send them to all types of experiences that will broaden their horizons and expose them to a better way of approaching the game of life. But it's a financial requirement at the very basic. At the very basics. And I know you're saying, hey, yeah, but there are some country clubs that, you know, you have to be a, you know, legacy member. Yeah. That's what I said. At the very bottom. At the very bottom, you have to have a certain amount of money in order to participate in the game. Now, I used to think it was a money level. Jim Rome says, if you make $5 million, right, somebody give you $1 million, you have to hurry up and become a millionaire so you can keep the money. Because a millionaire is not a person who has $1 million in cash. A person who's a millionaire is not a person who has a property valued at $1 million. A person who's a millionaire has become the type of person to whom $1 million is a natural and welcomed responsibility. It's a natural and welcome responsibility. It's a thing that when you wake up in the morning and you say, oh, I have to contact this person, I have to contact that person. There are people to call, there are situations to solve, there are conversations and meetings to be had. You do those things as a part of your welcomed and everyday responsibility. And that is a millionaire. Now, I hear people talking to billion now. If you're talking to billion, then you're talking on a whole nother level. If you're talking billion, now you're talking a different level. You're talking a different level, right? Which means that I couldn't even explain it. I couldn't even explain it because the concept is foreign to me, right? It's foreign to me and it's foreign to you. You've heard of it. I think you can type it out on your calculator. But if you're not playing with anything north of 800 million, I'm not talking about trading. I'm just talking about in general and anybody. That means that you're not normally around anybody who has $1 billion, right? You could work at a restaurant and someone can sit at the table in front of you and you can serve them a plate of foie gras, but you're not in the circle with the people who make $1 billion where that's the type of conversations that you're really having, right? So, and this is not even a shot at anybody. It's just a reality that for most of us, we go to our bank account, we haven't seen anything we don't have multiple accounts in multiple locations, and we don't have anything north of $500,000, you know, in cash in any place where we could get to, right? Where you could say, oh, okay, look, I'm gonna go cash out some stock options, and I'm gonna take these options and I'm gonna go get 500 grand cash. Now, there are places on the internet where you can see people doing it every day. I can't think of the name of this website off the top of my head, but you could go there. And I remember when I first started really getting deep into trading, it was maybe it's like StockBiz, or what is the name of that website? Anyway, it would show you at the end of the day, at the end of the quarter, how many executives were executing options, right? And the options that they were executing would be 100 million, 200 million, 300 million in options, in the biggest names in the stock market that you could imagine. And that happens on a regular basis. The percentage of people, obviously, we all know this percentage, it's like 1% of all people in the world who are able to go do a thing like that. But that's what they were doing. All right, they were CEOs, CFOs, COOs, and they were just cashing out stock options either prior to quad witching or after a significant amount of news, or normally prior to holidays. That's another good time to see it. Prior to holidays, you will see it, which is one of those things I think we're all working for, right? We would all love to say, wow, Christmas is coming. And you take out our family book, family album, we go to Facebook and we look up all the little kiddies, you know, our sister's kids, our brother's kids, you know, all just extended nephews and people from around the family. And then we say, this is the amount of money that we're going to drop in this. And we're going to have, you know, we're going to send cards to all of these kids, whatever the case may be. And I think that's one of those things that we think about, but that's what they do. Either that, or toward the end of the year, they make some sizable donation to some worthy charity prior to the end of the calendar year, in order to, you know, spread some goodwill, right? And I think that that's another thing that we think about, but we don't really have the opportunity to do. So we'll take our minds and we'll just bring all minds all the way back down to our trading today. All of that stuff that we described about is at risk when we put on a trade. But we don't think about it like that in the moment, right? We don't think about that. We're thinking, you know, we try to suppress all of that desire, and all of that suppressed desire sometimes just pops out in the way that we think about trading, right? So back test your trades. It's not evidence of whether or not you're a good trader or not. You want to know what the evidence is. The evidence is if you do not back test your trades. If you do not back test your trades, that's the evidence that you're not of that caliber, right? Because all of the people that we talked about, they're back testing strategies. They're getting consultants. They're getting coaches. They have mentors. They have all of the things that most of us who are unprofitable don't have. Because what we really would want is we really would want it for free. That's something for nothing. Trading is a business. There is no something for nothing. You have to give it what it requires. You have to give it what it requires. There's no something for nothing. There's no easy bag. If you get into the market and you take a trade and it goes well into profit, and there was no wait, there was no drawdown, there was no pullback, there was no question about whether or not it was going to stop you out, it just went straight to your profit, then you, my friend, have been done a serious disservice. Take the money, keep the money, hold the money, because maybe you're going to move on to the next lesson. Maybe entries aren't your problem, but maybe living with all of those extra zeros in your account might be an issue that you just have to learn to deal with. But you're going to learn to deal with it. You're going to learn to deal with it if you don't quit. If you don't quit. If you don't quit. How long this takes is going to be up to you. Woo-wee. I'm going to go home and I'm going to hit a shower. A lot of times I say to myself, I should post this stuff live and just come back later on and cut it and just do this as like a live portion of just my walk around. And I think that's going to be what I really want to do, because it would be really cool. And then I can just clip from this and then we'll just move on about our business stuff. I think that would be just really, really great, dandy, great and dandy, fun and dandy. That'd be really, really wonderful thing. All right. Thanks, guys. Peace.